Steel clashed against steel in a deadly ballet of flashing blades and thundering war cries. 200 samurai warriors stood firm against an onslaught of 50,000 Mongol horsemen. And believe it or not, this isn't a scene from a Hollywood blockbuster. It's a chapter from the epic saga of samurai history. These 200 men weren't just soldiers. They were legends in the making. They faced an army so massive it seemed like a never-ending tide of destruction, yet they held their ground. Today we unveil their story. Join us as we delve into the tale of bravery, strategy, and sheer human determination that makes the stand of the 200 samurai one of the most astounding stories in history. But first, let's set the stage for this incredible showdown. Imagine a time when the Mongol Empire was at its peak, a vast and ruthless force that had swept across Asia and was now poised to conquer Japan. The year is 1274, and the Mongol horde led by the legendary Kublai Khan is ready to invade the island nation. Kublai Khan, grandson of the infamous Genghis Khan, had assembled a formidable force unlike any Japan had ever seen. His army consisted of elite Mongol soldiers, fierce mercenaries from across his vast empire, and a large contingent of Chinese soldiers. Together, they formed a disciplined fighting force that moved with the precision of a well-oiled machine. As the Mongol forces approached Japanese shores, a small band of samurai warriors led by the valiant Takazaki Suenaga assembled to defend their homeland. Tasked with holding off the invaders until reinforcements could arrive, these 200 samurai stood as the last line of defense. To make matters more challenging, they found themselves positioned on the narrow strip of land connecting mainland Japan to the rest of the country. This meant that if the Mongols breached their defenses, they would be cut off from the rest of their allies. Despite the odds stacked against them, the samurai were prepared to give their lives rather than surrender their homeland to the enemy. In the lead-up to the battle, the samurai fortified their position, erecting strong defensive structures and stockpiling essential supplies. They knew that they couldn't win a direct confrontation with the Mongol army, so they had to be strategic. As the sun rose on the horizon, the roar of the approaching Mongol army echoed across the plains. The samurai braced themselves for the coming onslaught. The Mongol army arrived in full force, stretching as far as the eye could see. The sight was both intimidating and awe-inspiring, a testament to the might of the invading force. But fear did not cloud the samurai's minds. Instead, they stood their ground, ready to defend their homeland to the very end. When the two armies finally came face to face, the ensuing battle was nothing short of spectacular. Swords flashed, bows sang, and the clash of armor resonated across the landscape. But despite the ferocity of the samurai and the sheer numbers of the Mongols, it soon became apparent that the Mongols were too strong to beat head-on. So the samurai devised a plan to lure the enemy deeper into their territory, where they could exploit the choke points to their advantage. This involved feigning a retreat, drawing the Mongols away from the safety of their cavalry and into a trap of the samurai's making. It was a risky strategy, but one born out of necessity. As the battle raged on, the samurai began to execute their plan. They pretended to falter, giving the impression that they were on the verge of defeat. This caused the Mongols to press their attack, pushing the samurai further back towards the hills. The samurai made it look like they were in full retreat, their movements desperate and their formation broken. The Mongols, eager for victory, fell for the ruse. They pursued the retreating samurai, their cavalry thundering across the plains. But what the Mongols didn't realize was that they were being led right into the heart of the samurai's trap. Once the Mongols were deep enough into the choke points, the samurai struck. With the mobility of the cavalry compromised, the Mongols found themselves in a killing field. The samurai, well versed in the art of Bushido, fought with the precision and discipline that had become their hallmark. Their swords flashed in the sunlight, leaving behind trails of severed limbs and spilled blood. The once proud Mongol cavalrymen were no match for the samurai's skill and determination. They were trapped in a narrow passage between the hills and the sea, unable to deploy their superior numbers or their famed cavalry tactics. They were sitting ducks. To add to their woes, the samurai had anticipated the Mongol pursuit and had laid traps along the route. The hillsides gave way into hidden pits, camouflaged with leaves and branches. The Mongols, disoriented and exhausted from the chase, fell victim to these traps, plunging them deeper into the quagmire of the samurai's design. The brave samurai, outnumbered 250 to 1, managed to annihilate the entire Mongol force. It was a massacre. The stench of death hung heavy in the air as the surviving samurai surveyed the battlefield. The Mongols lay strewn across the ground, their bodies forming a macabre carpet over the hills. It was a sight both sobering and awe-inspiring. This wasn't just a battle. It was a testament to the power of strategy, courage, and resilience. The samurai had not only defended their homeland, they had done so with unmatched valor and tactical brilliance. The legend of the 200 samurai who stood against 50,000 Mongols had just begun. The news of the samurai's victory spread like wildfire across Japan, turning the 200 into instant heroes. They were celebrated as gods of war, their names whispered with reverence and respect from the youngest apprentice to the most seasoned general. Each warrior's deeds were immortalized in epic poems and historical texts, ensuring that their bravery echoed through the ages. Among the samurai, their leader, Takazaki Suenaga, was elevated to near mythical status. His strategic brilliance and unwavering courage were studied by aspiring samurai and generals alike. The tale of how he turned the tide of battle using the terrain and his knowledge of his enemy became a case study in military strategy. The victory at the Strait had repercussions that extended far beyond the immediate conflict. It was a defining moment in Japan's history, a pivotal point that stemmed the tide of Mongol aggression and protected the country from potential domination. It also served as a unifying force for the Japanese people. In the face of a common enemy, they had rallied together and triumphed. The spirit of unity forged in the fires of battle continued to inspire the Japanese for centuries to come. However, the impact of the battle was not limited to Japan alone. Word of the samurai's incredible feat reached distant lands, carrying with it tales of Japanese bravery and martial prowess. It introduced the Mongols to the concept of Japanese Bushido, the way of the samurai, which emphasized honor, loyalty, and self-discipline. In the annals of history, the Battle of the Straits stands as a beacon of courage and military brilliance. It's a testament to the human spirit's ability to triumph even in the face of overwhelming odds. The 200 samurai who took on 50,000 Mongols remain symbols of unwavering bravery, reminding us that sometimes the greatest victories come from the most unlikely of heroes. But what can we learn from the Battle of the Straits? How did the samurai manage to achieve such a resounding victory against an army so much larger than their own? Well, for starters, they had a thorough understanding of their enemy. The samurai knew the strengths and weaknesses of the Mongol army, as well as their tactics and strategies. This allowed them to anticipate Mongol moves and formulate effective counter-strategies. For example, they knew that the Mongols were strong horsemen, so they avoided direct confrontation and instead lured them into a trap. Another key factor in the samurai's victory was their use of the environment to their advantage. They chose to fight in a location that played to their strengths and maximized their limited resources. By fortifying choke points and utilizing natural obstacles like hills and valleys, they were able to hold off the Mongols and eventually trap them. Furthermore, the samurai displayed exceptional levels of discipline and coordination. They followed orders, maintained their formations, and executed their plans with precision. This level of discipline and coordination is crucial in any military operation and was instrumental in the samurai's ultimate success. Perhaps the most important lesson from the Battle of the Straits is the value of adaptability and quick thinking. The samurai were able to adjust their plans based on the evolving situation on the battlefield. When they realized that they couldn't defeat the Mongols in open combat, they retreated and lured the enemy into a trap. Their ability to think on their feet and adapt to changing circumstances was key to their victory. Finally, the samurai's commitment to their cause cannot be overlooked. They were willing to give their lives to defend their homeland and way of life. This level of dedication and sacrifice is truly inspiring and serves as a reminder that sometimes the most important battles are fought, not for material gain or territorial expansion, but for the defense of what is most precious. In conclusion, the story of the 200 samurai who fought against 50,000 Mongols is a tale of bravery, strategy, and resilience. The samurai's victory was the result of careful planning, knowledge of their enemy, environmental awareness, discipline, coordination, and quick thinking. It's a story that has inspired countless people throughout history and continues to resonate with audiences today. It reminds us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, courage and strategy can prevail. So if you find yourself in a seemingly hopeless situation, remember the 200 samurai and draw strength from their story.